Okay, so Metal March didn't do as well as I would have hoped, so I guess that means May will probably, of course, become a Mortal Kombat versus month. April initially was going to be an Amalgam month, and I was like, I push that to August because it's hard to do the Amalgam sort of fights. I'll still do a couple of them in this month just to kind of get the overall feel for them. Then I was like, oh, it's A. I was like, animated month. Now, the hardest thing with animated month is I was born in '79, so a lot of what I watched was '80s and '90s. A lot of people have thrown out more recent cartoons I don't know a lot about, and a lot of anime. My experience in anime was pretty much like Ronin Warriors, Cowboy Bebop, Kenshin, Dragon Ball Z, Outlaw Star, Big O, Gundam. Freaking loved Gundam. So kind of like that era. So, and Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, Digimon. I worked retail, and if you wanted to have somebody have their kids be entertained, you'd throw in a Pokemon DVD. The kids could watch that, and you sell electronics to the parents. So this month, I decided I was going to start off this month with He-Man and Lion-O. So Thundercats versus He-Man, the Masters of the Universe. I'm not going to go through all the characters because a lot of them, it gets kind of redundant pretty quick. So I'm going to do the main heroes. And I think the end of this month I might probably do maybe something a little bit different. He-Man. Potentially. I know that's probably was horrible. But I do this a little bit differently than my comic book ones because I really can't use energy projection that much. So we're going to go with intelligence, findability, strength, speed, durability, invulnerability, and X Factor. So here we go. Lion-O, ironically, depending on origin, was a young person trapped in an adult body. Prince Adam, the non-He-Man version of He-Man, of course, full-grown adult, spent a tremendous amount of time as a prince. So intelligence, actually, a lot of this goes to He-Man. He-Man has spent a much longer time on Earth, or should I say alive. Technically Eternia, yes, don't fill in the comments. So, there's no script. If I did behind the scenes, you would see I have a spreadsheet in front of me. So predominantly he is an intelligence edge based predominantly on experience. Experience, time, educational background. Fighting ability. This actually goes to Lion-O. Lion-O spent a tremendous amount more time when it comes to actual combat. You're probably thinking, well, wouldn't Prince Adam have spent more time? Not so much. The Prince Adam persona didn't have that much in the way of actual military training. When they normally showed Eternia, you predominantly had your military class and your ruling class. Your ruling class really didn't have a tremendous amount of physical one-on-one experience. Yes, more tactical experience, but not that much in the way of direct sword combat. Whereas much more highly prized when it came to Thundercats. Strength. He-Man, very, very prized for his strength. Did a tremendous amount of strength feats. A lot more than you saw for Lion-O. Lion-O still very impressive, very physically aggressive individual, but He-Man was predominantly known for his strength. Speed. This one's pretty easy. Actually goes to Lion-O. Lion-O, ironically, one of the fastest of the Thundercats. Before people say Cheetara. Well, during one of the trials, he actually raced Cheetara. Cheetara has super speed over a short distance. Lion-O actually is faster over a longer distance. So he's actually faster than the fastest Thundercat, depending on the size of the distance. Durability. This all says to do with stamina. This one, ironically, goes to Lion-O. Everything with what? Why does it go to Lion-O? Lion-O is Lion-O 24/7, where He-Man has the downgraded form of Prince Adam. If a fight continues for too long, He-Man actually can revert back down to Prince Adam. So if the fight goes on for too long, once He-Man becomes Prince Adam, Lion-O's got him pretty easily. Direct invulnerability. This is how much physical damage were these guys actually able to take. This is going to be kind of a bizarre one, but throughout the time of the cartoon, He-Man took a tremendous beating. And the predominant reason for that is, remember, it's He-Man the Master of the Universe. He-Man was always your point man. Thundercats, more often than not, they actually used a group. So you had more of an ensemble cast, where He-Man predominantly was the person taking the bludgeon himself. He didn't have, Panthro, Tigra. He didn't have other people to take some of the physical abuse to essentially spread it around. It was predominantly He-Man was the one who was taking just ridiculous physical abuse. Now, of course, it comes down to X Factor. What is that all-important thing? What is that one thing that's not quite covered in everything else? What is that almost more intangible moment? And this one I'm actually going to give to Lion-O. And you're probably thinking, okay, what is it that Lion-O has that He-Man does not have? Now, I plunked these guys out, so all they really have is their standard gear. He-Man, so you've got the Sword of Eternia, and his bondage and furry trunk armor. Lion, on the other hand, has his normal gear. So he's got his sword, which can increase in length. Also gives him the ability to have sight beyond sight. Yes, now some of the magical properties of the sword, which are actually a bit of a more superior side to what you see from He-Man commonly used with the sword. And more than the fact that He-Man was occasionally able to do energy blasts from it, very, very infrequently, where you see the sight beyond sight, which would allow, this fight's beginning, and they're at a far enough distance, Lion is going to be in use of sword, find out where he is, and get a much more tactical advantage early on, and then the shield claw, or claw shield, depending on how you're reading it. Grappling hooks, reflective surface, but still can never figure out how he was able to use what looked like a fur shield, be a reflective surface, to have Mumm-Ra transform from Mumm-Ra the ever-living, the giant version, into the more frail side. So you've got the grappling hooks. It's just, essentially, it's almost like he has a utility belt on his arm at all times. And that's what's going to give Lion-O the edge in a fight like this. You've got a guy who definitely has intelligence and a strength background. He can take a tremendous beating. But as this fight goes on, it's going to be the versatility that's going to really, truly give Lion-O the edge.